All right, so motor vehicle write-offs. And the question, how do you use our Excel mileage logbook template? Over time, I've been shocked to learn that most aren't this way. To get the most out of this video, I would recommend following along. And by the end of the video, I hope you will feel confident in navigating and using our mileage Excel template. All right, so I've already opened up the template here in front of us, and this is our Excel motor vehicle mileage template. And it opens up to the instructions tab here. So to get started, we're going to put our name and the tax year along the top. So I'll use Jane Doe and December 31st, 2022 as an example. Now, if you're a sole proprietor like Jane Doe, then your year end is going to be December 31st. But if you're an incorporated business, your year end is going to be your fiscal year end date. So the two written instruction sections a little further down here, things to keep in mind and should you keep your receipts. This content has all been covered in either other videos or it's available right here for future reading. So I won't go over it today. So now let's move over to the mileage logbook tab, which is along the bottom. So this tab also starts off with more written instructions, and I would certainly go back and read this later for future reference, and it's the written content of this video. So now let's move down to the basic vehicle information. So to start, we're going to want to enter the year, make, model, and purchase date. I'll use a 2022 Honda Civic as an example. And let's say it was purchased June 15th. So this identifies the vehicle that we're driving for business purposes and is really important for deductions down the road. Next, we're going to head out to our vehicle and look at the odometer on our dashboard. The odometer tells you the total kilometers your vehicle has traveled, and it might look something like this. Now with the kilometers that you're going to want to record are somewhere around here. So we're going to record this number as the opening odometer reading. And our example is blank, so let's use an example of 3,500 kilometers. We're then going to want to record the date that this applies to. So for our example here, we'll use the purchase date, June 15th, 2022. Now, if you missed this step when you first started to drive for business purposes, then I would recommend reviewing a purchase document for your vehicle or maybe a mechanical invoice, ideally around that date. Now, we're also going to want to record the odometer reading at the end of the tax year as well. This calculates the percentage of total use. Now, this date can fly right by, so I would recommend leaving a reminder in your calendar or phone. You may have noticed that our logbook is fairly vehicle specific, and it is best to keep a logbook for each vehicle if you're driving multiple vehicles and you're also keeping vehicle receipts. So keep that in mind. All right, so once our logbook is all set up with this basic vehicle information, we are ready to begin. All right. So we want to record our deductible business trips we're driving. We don't want to record our personal trips. And deductible trips can be things like traveling to see customers, picking up supplies, transporting equipment, visiting a bank, or traveling to a work conference. So let's use an example to see how this works. Maybe our example trip took place July 3rd, 2022. And Jane Doe went from her home to pick up a computer. So we'll start by recording the date, July 3rd, 2022. And then we'll record the purpose of the trip, to obtain a business computer. Then we're going to want to record the locations traversed. So from is the original location. In other words, home. So we'll use 123 House Road, Houseville, BC in our example for today. Then we'll record the to destination where we went. In this example, let's use 456 Shopping Way. Again, we're still in Houseville, BC. And let's say our trip took 1 kilometer. So you can track your kilometers on your odometer in your car, on a phone app, or using Google Maps. And you can do this, during your drive or after your drive as well, especially Google Maps going back and using that as a reference tool later on. So in this instance, we didn't have a round trip, meaning we didn't go from one place to the other and then back. Instead, we just went from one destination to the other. So I'll say no. Maybe Jane drove on to a further destination afterwards. Now, if this was a round trip, I would say yes, and I would actually double my kilometers. So I can do that by clicking in the cell and using an asterisk and just multiplying it by 2, making sure that I do have that equal sign at the beginning there. All right, so you may have noticed that we do have another example trip that's preloaded in here for you. So the example trip is in blue, and the actual trip that Jane took is in black. So if you don't want the example trip to be included in the total down at the bottom, down here, then just delete it. So we're going to right click and delete. And notice where my mouse is. It's just along the left here on the left side. All right. So if you do need an extra line, you're going to right click in that same area and say insert. And if you need a bunch of extra lines, then highlight a few, right click, insert. So just a few little Excel tips for you there to help navigate you around. So some best practices. First, record your business trips at the end of every day, regularly and consistently. And second, don't forget to record your odometer reading at the end of your tax year. This will calculate percentage of business use. Now that you've finished watching this video, great job.